up guys, welcome back to another video. If you guys haven't checked the title already out, what essentially today's video is going to be consisted of is me kind of going through and assessing my own car reviews. That way you guys can get a better understanding of everything that's kind of going on. Now this is essentially a live recording of a client that has closed. I personally have reviewed this myself multiple times just to see what I could have done better, what I could have improved on. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I kind of wanted to kind of like assess this with you guys. That way you guys can get a little more clarity and context of how you guys can run actual sales calls as well, right? So other than that, without further ado, let's just pretty much jump right straight into it here. So I'm going to put this at speed. I'll probably put this at like 1.5. But let's just pretty much
are you on your iPhone?
I am on my iPad, but I'm in my living room because the rest of the guys are on their computers and I didn't want to be too loud, so I kind of scooted away from them.
Okay, gotcha. And does your iPad have like the camera or just one speaker? Okay, cool. I can hear you, right?
You see here?
Okay, cool. I can see you now.
It's hard to flip this.
Very good, man. How many jobs have you taken this morning or earlier this afternoon?
How many what?
How many jobs have you taken earlier this afternoon or this morning?
What do you mean? Okay.
Like, did you take any jobs this morning? Like, did you go to any jobs?
Oh, no, not today, no. My techs are working right now. It's just 4 jobs on the schedule.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Cool. Well, appreciate you for joining, Marco. Obviously, I know we had a chat on Friday, and then we scheduled follow-up for...
One very minor nuance thing that I would have done a little bit more differently is definitely not ask him that. Just because, like, you don't really necessarily need to build rapport. Like, it's kind of the same thing as, like, oh, how's your day going? Or, like, you know, it's the same thing as you talking to, you know, a girl and saying, like, hey, good morning. Like, you don't need that. No one's going to care, right? So that's just kind of like minor nuance things. So I'd just kind of jump right straight into it.
Today, so just to give you some clarity on this, it's going to be the same thing, right? You know, as last time. Instead of being like it being 25 to 30 minutes this time, it's more like 30 to 40 minutes for me, like obviously show you like the whole presentation. And obviously answering questions that you might have at the end, right? But I did talk to my developers. We did create you pretty much the whole presentation tailored to what your business needs and, you know, tailored to what exactly our conversation we had on Friday was. So it's pretty much completely personalized. But before I kind of go into the presentation, I just wanted to kind of ask a few other questions I didn't get to ask, like specifically on Friday. So you mentioned that you used TimeTree for, was it TimeTree or Honeybox? Like for Windows?
TimeTree.
TimeTree, okay. And that's the only like specific system that you're using for Windows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. And how exactly like are you like utilizing it? Is it just like a calendar or is it
just a calendar? Yeah, just a calendar where I just input I put their name as a title, you know, their address, as for the notes, you know, the price, if they're recurring or not, and so on.
Okay, gotcha. So there's no like specific automations you can implement in TimeTree. Okay. How long have you been like using TimeTree for?
3 years.
3 years. Okay. And in the past, 2 years. Okay. So in the past 2 years, you've never looked to like even optimize your systems.
I have not. No, that's on me.
Okay.
Okay, so that's kind of like a challenging question right there. For the past 2 years, and this is a question that I didn't ask in the discovery just because I didn't want to really challenge him on the discovery. So I just kind of used those questions after the discovery to kind of like challenge him, right? For example, you've been using the same system for 2 years and you've never really looked to optimize before. You know, without saying it, it's essentially telling him like, no wonder you're still stuck in the same place.
So how's like optimizing? Like, did you ever like have that like thought of like, oh, you need to like have you start optimizing things, or have you just never like really done that?
Oh, I thought about it multiple times. That's why I'm trying to take action now.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting. Cool. So that's kind of just, you know,
green flag. Looking to take action now.
So I just want to kind of ask that. So let me share my screen here. That way I can actually show you the presentation now. So let me know if you're able to see my screen here. Give me a quick second. All right, let me know if you're able to see my screen here.
I see it.
Okay, cool. So I know we had a chat just like this. I know we created you like your own presentation about like 4 months ago. Do you remember like concisely exactly what like how the presentation looked, or just want to?
Not really, no.
Okay, yeah, it's been a while, right? 4 months. Okay, cool. So yeah, obviously I'm not gonna go too much in depth on who we are since we've already spoken, so I don't want to waste too much of our time here. So this is essentially how it's gonna work, right? So these are like the specific bottlenecks you're facing right now, and these are like probably the biggest needle mover forward for you right now within the business, right? So the biggest thing right now for you is you're essentially just like relying on yourself, right? Like you're going into the country, you don't really have like a system in place, you know, you're manually putting everything like all the data on auto analytics. Are these clients recurring? Are these clients not? And you also
basically telling him like the problems that he's facing and letting him know that these are the problems you're actually facing.
To me as well, like on Friday, that you typically go like into like your historical data like within TimeTree to like call up leads. They have you again. Yeah, and that's obviously, you know, and I think the last time we talked that was like the same issue that you've been facing, and it's been 4 months now, so obviously it's still an issue, right? So yeah, I mean it's more like, I wouldn't say your business is more manually underdependent with you just having to be in it, but I'd say that, you know, there's specific areas within your business that require you to be always in it, right? You know, and I want to make sure that, you know, these specific automations and systems that we build out, we want to make sure that we help you delegate out those tasks that you shouldn't even worry about. If that makes sense. Yeah. Second is more like time, right? So obviously you mentioned on our call on Friday that you're essentially like spending like what 40% to like 35% of your time like on the admin stuff, like scheduling, managing clients on TimeTree, you know, getting quotes, like doing estimates. Is that right? Or
I just pay 40% to my techs, or my my sales reps.
Okay, so you spend 40%. Wait, okay, so that's commission, right? Or is that like on a pay per hourly basis?
No, it's commission, 40%.
Okay, so 40% commission, and that's when they close the deal, like on the phone.
Yeah, well, on the door, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And then with that being said, this is door to door, right? Like what you
yes.
Okay, gotcha. So what I'm talking about isn't like necessarily door to door. It's more like within the systems, right? Like for example, like your door to door guys can go knock the doors, you know.
Right.
But on the other hand, you already have like historical data of clients that you've been already working with. Some of them haven't booked on, some of them just probably forgot about you, and on top of that, you get new clients, recurring clients as well, right? So obviously you got to target them. So there's obviously like a laundry list of like there's just like a laundry list of like different avenues of like where your leads are, and obviously you have to manage all that besides the door-to-door part. But like just having to manage like 90% of that, of your leads is kind of draining your time away from more client fulfillment. If that makes sense. Yep. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's like the goal here? I mean, obviously with that being said, like, is your goal to like necessarily like transition and delegate?
My biggest goal is to just transition to ads, right?
That question right there, in terms of like what his goal is, I already kind of asked him on the discovery. So I would kind of like not ask that question again until like later in the presentation, after I've gone through like everything pretty much. Still a question that, obviously it's not a big deal, but just definitely a question that would have been a little bit more effective if used like towards the end.
Create ads,
marketing.
run them more efficiently, and then have them all more automated, like so that I can kind of step away and actually work on the business instead of the business.
Okay, gotcha. So you're looking to kind of just have this business on autopilot, essentially. Okay, gotcha. And you've been running this business for 2 years now, right?
Yes.
Okay, 2 years. So it's been 2 years. Everything's been kind of like the same processes. Okay, and you don't have like a centralized customer support system, right? Like your clients don't really have like their own specific like system, or like you don't have like a system like track analytics, like how many clients have came in today. No.
No.
Not even like Google Excel spreadsheets, nothing like that.
I have an Excel spreadsheet. That's for all the recurring clients.
I see. Okay, so that's the only like specific like sheet and system typically using besides Sumtree.
Yeah, but I mean that's just for quarterly clients.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's
rather than questions on like the second closing call, I would make a little bit more of like statements, to be honest. And you might be wondering, well, what's the difference? Well, a statement is like, you look like you have, or you look like you got your life together. Is that right? That's a statement. Now, a question is like, do you even have your life together? Right? So it's kind of like minor nuance, but having statements, for example, like, after the discovery call, you already have the questions. You already asked the questions. So now you already know what to do. Now, after the discovery call, what you should be doing and what you should be implementing is more statements. Like, I know you mentioned on the discovery call or on our last call that you said that your goal was XYZ. Are you still, is that still applicable, or is that still applying to what you're trying to get to? So it's kind of like statements, right? Like you mentioned that your goal was this and this. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Gotcha.
Essentially the biggest problem, right? Obviously there's, different problems, different things that we can essentially implement, but I don't want to go too much in depth in that because that's not something that you should be focusing on right now. You should be focusing on like these 3 biggest pillars right here, which I pretty much laid out to you, right? And then here's essentially like the solution, right? So obviously what we can implement within here is we can do the marketing for you, right? So obviously you mentioned that you want to essentially transition eventually into more marketing, right? The more marketing side of your business. We can essentially help you, and I'll show you an example like later on after this presentation, but what we can essentially do is we'll give you description frameworks, just how I show you on Friday's call. We'll essentially make sure that we run the ad creatives for you, but whenever the leads are coming in, we make sure that we want to pre-qualify those leads. So whenever those leads come in, you can either call them, right? But because we don't want you to call unqualified leads, right? We don't want you to be calling leads that are like 50 miles out and they only want like 70 windows cleaned, right? That's not worth the time, right? So we can essentially like help you market with the marketing, unless you're just looking to get clients for the quarterly plan. Like I'm not too sure exactly how you want to work that out, but
no, even single time cleans will do. I mean, I make more money off those anyways.
Okay. I mean, what made you transition to just quarterly plan or plan?
Just so I don't have to ever reach back out to them. I mean, they're just on autopilot, reoccurring. I never have to, like if someone knocks that door and like it's like some little kid and they feel bad and they just give them the job. The windows are clean. We don't come in. By the end of the day, if they're under contract, it's point blank period. We're gonna come back out no matter what.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're locked for life. That makes sense.
Okay. So
they have a guy, and when they have a guy, they have a contract as well. So.
Yeah. So obviously you want to have that, and then you also want to have like the single clients as well on top of that, right? You're not opposed to that.
Oh, of course not.
Okay, gotcha. Just wanted to make sure. Obviously we can get you clients with the quarterly plan, but I mean, it would just make more sense if you did quarterly on top of like single clients. Like whenever you do your single clients.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who would want to do it just a single time. I get that.
Yeah, and not even that, you can also implement automations to send out like marketing campaigns, like emails and SMSs as well. To essentially like upcharge them or upsell them, right? For example, like they really love your guys' service.
So do you guys, whenever you send SMS, is that just like a regular SMS and it just goes to their phone number? And what if they have like some sort of like a blocking system where it blocks in like spam?
Yeah, so that's a good question. All these numbers essentially are going to be around your area code, right? So what's your area code? It's like 804. 704, yeah. So essentially what we can do is all the numbers that we create don't go to spam, right? The reason why some of
the thing is I've seen some companies using SendBlue. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that's not a good company. So we essentially use Twilio. I don't know if you've ever heard of Twilio. So Twilio is like a.
So this is kind of where I'm just kind of like going on ramble.
What essentially it does is we can create you the number. There's a thing called like ATP compliance. So we want to make sure that we are compliant with like sending SMSs out first.
Isn't the best.
Or whenever someone opts into like the form or like opts into like just getting SMS and emails from you. Whenever they opt in, all the numbers or when the number sends a message when the number sends that message or calls, it's not going to pop up as spam.
Okay, makes sense. That's good.
Yeah, even if you want, I mean, we can have the area code at 704. So probably it's more personalized and that would be phone more easily around your area.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's essentially how it goes in terms of like the solution, right? So obviously this is just kind of like me showing you exactly like some of the problems like most home service based businesses I work with had. And this is just straight from my knowledge and just me working with our clients and what we've seen, right? So the biggest problems that I've seen
now I have a video up in my YouTube channel explaining like exactly the presentation of like what I include when I am presenting to the clients or the potential leads. This presentation right here is essentially showing them like what other businesses are having trouble with as well, and it essentially eliminates the factor of like, oh, these aren't the only problems that I'm facing with. there are multiple other businesses who are facing these problems, and most of them aren't even doing anything about it, right?
I'm not sure if this is going to pertain to you. Maybe it would, but
So that kind of creates that psychology of like, okay, if I get this done right now, I'm going to be so ahead of these other businesses that actually haven't done shit about it, if that makes sense.
obviously you know best, right? One is obviously like excessive time and estimates of quotes, right? You know, there's two types of clients that we work with where one typically just give quotes over the phone and estimates over the phone, which I believe is the most time efficient, but not most effective in terms of getting clients, right? Then we had another client who did did estimates and quotes over the phone, but at the same time they built like rapport and they actually went out there physically to give them the estimate and quote, right? And then obviously build that connection and close that deal on the spot. So that's more effective, but it's a little more like less time efficient. So what we pretty much built up was an automation to essentially help you do both of that from start to finish. So whenever someone calls you, whenever you don't answer the phone, we can essentially send out like SMSs and emails to pre-qualify that lead first, get them on the booking job, and once they are on that booking job, we'll have pretty much like automations like just reminders saying like, hey, this is Marco with Winnovies, we're arriving in like 30 minutes, just want to make sure that you're still good to go with that. And then once the job is finished, then they'll pretty much get into like a separate automation campaign where we'll send out your review link for them to pretty much apply or pretty much give you guys a review. If you guys have like any incentives or like any offers that you guys want to put out there, like when they fill out that review link, we can also implement that as well. So that's one thing. And then two is obviously like slow response to phone calls and leads, right? Whenever someone calls you and you miss a call, it's been 10 minutes and you call them back, most people are just gonna be like, oh yeah, we already found someone, thank you, right? We want that happening. So whenever someone calls you, we'll pretty much have an automation like notify you, letting you know that look, this is a lead that's hot. So that way you know that every single phone call you get isn't like it's not gonna be like some unqualified lead just trying to ask them a bunch of different questions like, oh, when do you guys close or stuff like that, because that's gonna waste your time, right? And then three is like just not having a CRM for like a lead tracking system at all, right? Without data, without any analytics of how many leads are coming in, what you need to be improving on, right? You're not really gonna scale the business, without having like an actual CRM or like an actual tracking system, right? Because maybe 1 month you did a record-breaking month, but the next month, you feel like you did a record-breaking month, but you just don't have that data and analytics to track it, right? You don't know.
The reason why I go on a ramble right now is because
just went all downhill from there, right?
I'm explaining the whole process and the whole presentation.
So within the business, what your technicians are doing, what your door are doing as well. Obviously having like this, a system to track how many doors have you knocked and stuff like that, right? So that's essentially how it's gonna go. Do you have a data tracker for like your sales reps though, or no?
I don't.
So you're not tracking how many doors they knock, how many people they've talked to?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay. How many can you remind me again, like how many door guys you ever know?
At the moment, it's about 10.
Okay, so 10 door-to-door guys, you're not tracking anything, and they pretty much work whatever time they want to work.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so that's another thing that would obviously help you optimize, right? Just being able to look at the
That's
data.
another thing. He doesn't have a set system for the hiring process, and he doesn't have a KPI system as well.
Opposed to this guy,
so he's not really tracking anything.
And obviously, there's gonna be a little more higher likely chance of you getting more book appointments on, right? So that's essentially what we can also optimize for you, but we can just we'll definitely get to that in a little bit. But yeah, obviously these are just numbers, right? So
which can lead to lots of lead down conversions for sure.
Not knowing exactly where your revenue's losing out, where your revenue's leaking, or your time as well. So that's kind of called data blindness. And then obviously the solutions help you get more instant responses, focus more on the values, and give you more clear insight on exactly what's going on with your business, right? So that's essentially how it's gonna go. And then before I kind of go into how we're gonna implement the system, do you have any questions? Do you feel like everything that I'm saying so far kind of resonates what you might be looking for, even makes sense at all?
Oh yeah, all of it aligns perfectly.
Okay, perfect. So this is how it's going to essentially work, right? So the system that we build out, like I said, it usually takes us about 7 to 14 days to fully build out. But in terms of what you're looking for, I don't think it should take that long, to be honest. It should only take anywhere from 7 to 8 days at max. But it's essentially the whole system that we're creating for you is custom. So you're not having to pay any sort of monthly charges for the system. But obviously there's gonna be someone who charges for other aspects, depending on the systems that you want to implement, things that you want to towards the system, right? But we're pretty much partnered with, I'm sure you've heard of Go High Level, right? Or no? No, okay. Yeah, so we're actually partnered with a separate system. So I'll kind of show you exactly how this works. So this is one of our other clients. So I'll just kind of go into his. I'll just kind of show you exactly everything on what we've pretty much built out for it, right? So instead of you going on time every time, you can essentially just come into this custom software that we built out for our clients. And you can essentially see the dashboard. I'm not gonna click the dashboard since I want to be secretive, but you'll essentially get your own dashboard. You'll see all your clients here, messages as well. Phone number, right here. You can see all the automations. You don't really have to do automations. You don't have to worry about all these. This is where our developers will pretty much handle all that. You'll see the calendars. If you want to connect TimeTree into the system, we can also connect TimeTree into here, right? So honestly,
at this point, I'm just kind of explaining.
No, TimeTree's free. That's.
At this point, I'm just kind of explaining to him how the processes work. So so far I'm doing good. And this is just something that you guys can also do as well.
But if you're talking about $100, it's like $30.
Okay, but you're not using $100 for one of these.
No. I'm just using. So technically it's free.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, you can essentially just connect TimeTree into here then. This way you'll be able to see all your calendars. For example, I click here and obviously you can see these are all his book jobs for today or this week. You can see your contacts. You can come into opportunities as well, right? You can essentially see which clients are you.
And for payments, you can have them the card on file, right?
Yeah, you can have the card on file. So you come in payments. What you can also do is instead of always having to manually send out invoices and documents and contracts after your job is finished, we'll just essentially automate that right after. So for example, let's say how long is your typical job? About 3 hours?
3 hours, yeah.
Yeah. So once that 3 hour mark is done, after 15 to 30 minutes, you're gonna or right after if you want, you'll get an automated message right after that job is finished on your calendar. You'll get a document, an invoice sent out to them, right? So that way you don't have to manually go on your phone or your iPad and have get everything signed and ready. They just automatically get them. So not only is that helping you save time, it's more time efficient, but I'm sure your technicians.
What's the fees?
Fees in terms of what?
For credit card payments?
That's a good question. I don't believe there's any fees. It's just strictly going into the dashboard for you. But the fees is everything that we do here is it's also connected to Stripe. So it can get connected to PayPal.
And also,
Stripe. So these are
quick tip: if a client asks you a question, do not hesitate to answer the question, because if every time you hesitate to answer the question, the less likely they'll essentially buy, and it's going to lower your status and it's going to lower your ability to, you know, close the deal, because they don't want to buy something or something from someone, or buy a service from someone that doesn't know what he's talking about, right? So never hesitate to answer a question
directly from Stripe or PayPal.
Okay.
if you don't know how to answer it, just literally just, you know, ask again, you know, get more clarity, get more context of what they mean. Like, what do you mean by that, right?
Square.
Oh yeah, or Square. I mean, I'm sure we can integrate Square into here. So let me just see if we are able to. I believe we should. Okay, let me see. Square. Yeah, we can also connect Square into here as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So the fees, and you know, obviously answer your question. The fees is just directly, I guess, whatever Square charges.
Gotcha. That's like 2.25.
Yeah. But yeah, that's essentially how the system's gonna work. You know, you're not really doing anything. We'll pretty much create this for you all custom, so you'll be pretty much get to go on that. And yeah, this is like implementation roadmap. Like I said, I mean, it's gonna take us 7 to 10 days to create, or 7 to 14 days to create this, but for you, probably take us 7 to 8 days. We already had our call on Friday, which we already diagnosed the problem. So we already, you know, pretty much did this. Now, next step for us is to obviously, if we do move forward, then we'll pretty much build the custom systems for you today. And obviously, once you go through the documents and once we get everything up and running, we'll pretty much get started right away for you. But once the whole system is pretty much implemented, we'll pretty much deploy it for you. So that's when we'll take another 7 to 8 days to test out the whole system, see if there's any breaks, see if there's any like minor adjustments you want to make. Let's say that we send out an SMS campaign, but you want to change up the wording, or you want to change up like how the SMS is sent, then we can update that for you. So any minor adjustments, and after that, it's just pretty much optimizing scaling from there, right? Obviously, like as you start to grow, as you start to scale, and as you ramp up in your marketing, you're gonna get too many leads to for you to be able to handle yourself, right? So that's when we'll pretty much implement other systems like having like an AI assistant to answer calls for you if needed. We can also like create like a hiring process as well. Like once someone, obviously as you start to scale, you gotta hire more people, right? So for you to be able to have to like focus on trying to hire more people, we can pretty much create like SOPs and documents, like automated documents for for you to be able to save more time on like hiring process as well. That's like as it scales. So yeah, I mean, obviously, it's just figure out to show you a few of like our clients and what they had to say, right? So there's just like a few clients that we have. These are like our other clients as well. For example, like we helped Duncan Rogers. He's more like an engineer. We pretty much helped him like create like a more systemized approach in terms of like his marketing. Dr. Miller, we essentially integrate like an AI voice receptionist. So like instead of him having like always rely on his receptionist 24/7, he just has like an AI voice receptionist and all those calls coming in for him. And then we also have this specific automation we implemented for this guy for like capturing leads, right? So pre-qualifying leads, capturing leads, asking all the necessary questions that he needs to be, he typically asks himself. He just pretty much implements that into like the whole system for him. Yeah. So that's essentially it. And obviously there's more case studies as well, right? If you want to read them, you can. If you want to take a screenshot, you can as well. But yeah, I mean that's essentially it. I know that was a lot, right? I know I went like on a big tangent and I went on like quite a bit of a ramble there. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any questions, like you have anything specific you want to ask me before I
No, I mean I think you answered them all last meeting for sure.
Okay. I mean, just want to make sure like is there anything like at all like specifically you want to ask me?
I mean, now you've touched base with everything. I mean, the ads great for you.
So I'm going to stop here right now. The reason why I have this specific,
information in terms of like SMS, rescheduling, following up, which is good. You guys create
whatever. The reason why I have that specific presentation slide saying questions, question mark, is because I want to eliminate all the objections before I go into the guarantees, into the pricing, into the payment plans, because, let's say he has a question and I answer the question, right? It essentially eliminates all the objections. And even if he asks again the same question, but like just worded differently, I can just pretty much call him out on his, I can call them out on their BS, right? Saying like, hey, you asked me this question and I said, if you had any questions, is it because you saw the pricing and now you have questions now? Or do you just forget to ask when I literally asked you if you had any questions at all on your mind, right? So now that is essentially increases your authority and boom, there you go, right? So that's I'm gonna be super honest with you guys. This presentation slide right here with questions, question mark, is honestly the most important slide that you need to have in your presentation. And it literally takes you under 10 seconds.
The website, which is good. That's about it.
Okay, cool. So this is how the pricing is going to work, right? So there's a guarantee that we have implemented. So obviously, like I mentioned on our call on Friday, this can feel like a pretty big decision for most business owners just because it's something completely different, right? You've never optimized your systems before. This is like the first time you're doing it in like 2 years. And I know you mentioned that you're looking to also take action as well, right? So obviously, there's no better time to just obviously start implementing now. But like I said, with every single business, every single offer, there is a guarantee for us as well, where in the first 45 days, if you don't start seeing like results, if you feel like leads aren't the best, if you feel like automations aren't really helping you save time as well, if you feel like you're just like working within your business more and more after these systems are implemented, then we'll give you your whole investment money back, or we'll work with you for free until you actually see those results, right?
Always have a guarantee.
We've had 0 disputes in the past.
Always have a guarantee in your offer.
Working with our clients, so it's been a while. So obviously, we know what we're doing. But like I said, just to give you some cushion on your belt. If you don't see results in 45 days, then we'll give you your investment money back, or we'll work with you for free until you do.
Okay.
Cool. So this is essentially how it's going to work, right? So obviously, there's an implementation fee of $1,500. I know last time it was $2,000, but that was because it was a more complex project. So it was a more complex system, right? So the implementation fee is $1,500. If we need to split it into payment plans, we can. But once that $1,500 is paid off, then that's when there's going to be like a $199 monthly retainer going on fee.
There's nothing too much to talk about here. I'm just pretty much pitching them the pricing and the payments. So it's pretty much There's nothing to talk about.
Where that's where we're essentially going to be optimizing your systems for you. That monthly fee also contains me having to run your advertisements for you as well, so you're not really touching your marketing. And even if you do want some coaching, if you do want to see like exactly how you can do marketing for yourself eventually as you scale, then that's when I can also we'll also conduct like bi-weekly one-on-one like calls as well, like checking calls. If you have any questions, just feel free to let me know as well. But I can also show you exactly how to like run your own marketing campaigns as well every single bi-weekly, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So what is the monthly retainer just forever?
So the monthly retainers are typically for our clients. I mean, yes, it is forever, but our clients like to essentially learn for themselves as well, right? I mean, we had a client that was getting charged monthly retainers as well, but he utilized that monthly retainer to kind of like learn how to build systems for himself as well as to like do his own marketing, right? So yeah, the monthly retainer is pretty much like ongoing after the 1,500 is paid off. So it's not like the 1,500 plus the 199 is what's going to get you started today. Once that 1,500 is paid off, like I mentioned, we do have payment plans. After that's paid off, and that's when like the 199 is just going to keep on going.
Okay.
Until you stop. I mean, obviously if you stop the monthly retainer, it's not like we're going to part ways. We're still going to be in communication, but there just won't be like as much communication towards that if you don't pay it. If that makes sense. Like for example, if you want like a specific like marketing campaign, to be created, and you're not paying the monthly retainer, then obviously we can't do that. But
so you just keep everything you guys built for me, and then you just don't get any more like support, is what you're saying?
yeah, so you'll still like once the system is built out, it's for yours to keep like until you shut down the business.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like if you stop paying the monthly retainer, then the systems are all shut down. Like once the system's built, it's for yours to keep. The only thing is just marketing, as well as for us to keep the system up and running. Or
So-
for us to make adjustments.
Okay, so initially when you guys start running all the stuff, how much do you spend on ads?
We have a client right now who's paying $25 a day, and they're getting good results. So let me actually show you this. I'm gonna show you my screen. Give me a quick second here. I just want to show you my screen on Slack. But like just for $25. So
Yeah.
he's running over like, I don't want to count the whole thing, but like obviously you can see like how many leads have been just coming in.
Okay.
Just from spending $25 a day. So what you can, let me show you my screen again. But I mean, essentially what you can also do is set like a max budget monthly, which our clients do that right now. I think his max budget like monthly he wants to spend is like $850. So you can do that as well.
Now,
That is,
This is just more of like just kind of explain to him like what comes with the package,
Okay.
essentially.
Gotcha. So just varies depending on how much you want. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if I were you, I'd start off with 25. And obviously as you start getting leads coming in or qualified leads, I mean, what's like the typical your ticket price for like single clients?
Oh, I mean, it could be anywhere from 2 to 500. Really depends.
Okay. I mean, if you put in $25 a day and you get a client for like 350, I mean that's like 20x return on investment. So
Pretty worth it, yeah.
yeah, I mean on top of that, implementing these systems of pre-qualified those leads, so that way you actually target qualified leads instead of like junk leads. We can also implement that as well for you. So it's like step one all the way up to like you guys get to the door. It's not like just step one where we bring in new leads and we do that and hope for you guys actually can close them, right? It's sort of step one. If you want to call them, you can, and all the way up to like them getting to the door, or you guys go get into the door. And after you guys finish, then that's when we can also implement systems.
So so last time we talked, you talked about something of more towards like, you guys building it out for free and then testing out for 2 weeks, seeing how it works, and then going through with the payment. Obviously, I'm not like skeptical of going through with the payment if it works.
Yeah.
How do we go about that?
So the reason why I did put that in place or put that out there, or put that offer out there in the first place was because we had different systems that we were testing out, right? So we want to, every time we do test out a different system, we always call upon like leads and clients that we
Yeah, I kind of fucked up right here. I was kind of desperate because this is just to give you some context, guys. This client was supposed to initially book on and close with me as like around like January. I recontacted him, and right now it's it was like April-ish, and I pretty much pitched him saying like, hey, we can work with you for free, and then once you see the results, then you can pay. And then another month passed by, which was this was March, and then another month passed by, which he signed with me on April. It's currently May 9 right now, but yeah, it's been pretty much a month since he signed up with us. But basically I was just kind of desperate, so I pretty much pitched them that idea, and surprisingly enough, people are smart. They're going to remember what you say. So be very mindful of what you say and what comes out your mouth, because people are going to remember. So I just pretty much had to re-explain that whole situation and how that offer is not on the table anymore.
I work with to try and test that out for themselves. Because if it goes wrong, the only thing that is going wrong on our side is, on our side, right? Because we're not getting paid. We essentially just want to test it out. So that was the only offer that we had on the table. But since we already tested out the systems, and I'm more than happy to send you over some client results as well, and testimonials and more. I already showed you a few, but if you want to look at more,
Another thing, don't say I can send you client testimonials and client case studies. Like, you already sent it to them. Like, they've probably already seen the client testimonials and case studies if it's been like over 3 months, 4 months. So don't say that. Don't get desperate. I feel like I got super desperate trying to get myself out this rabbit hole. But yeah, I mean, surprisingly enough, it worked. So that's all that matters.
I'm sending over, but that offer's kind of off the table. But if we need to break up the price right now, I'm more than happy to break it up for you, so we can pretty much get started. That makes sense.
Another thing, don't say payment plans. Don't say if we need to break it up, we can. If they really give out like a lot of red flags saying that they can't pay all of this up front, then that's when you can say, okay, is it because it's too much up front, or do we need a payment plan to split this up for you guys, for you, right? Instead of saying what I said.
Yeah. I mean, that's my biggest thing is like, I'm not worried about paying the price. I want to know that it works first. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I kind of hop on this call is because last time you mentioned like we go over the like kind of how that works. You mentioned that you guys did have that running. Obviously, that you could make an exception. That's what I was told.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't believe our developers because that's another thing. I would have to talk to developers, and I did. But I mean, just because we already had that offer off the table for a while, I don't think we can do that. But what I can make an exception on is instead of it being 45 days, where if you don't see the results, we give your investment money back, or we just work with you for free, we can essentially cut that timeline down to like 20 days or 30 days. So if you don't see the results in 20 or like 30 days, like in terms of like, are the systems working? Are you getting good leads coming in? Then, and I'll put this all into the contract as well, when we move forward, but we can essentially cut down the timing to like 20 or 30 days. So, if you're, I guess I wouldn't say impatient, but if you just want to see more fast results, and if you're not seeing those results, then we can just give your investment money back, if that makes sense. So instead of it being 45 days, we can cut it down to like 20 or 30 days, if needed.
I don't know. What would you have in terms of like, I guess, the payment plans? Because like I told you last time, I could flip my camera right now and show you my garage. I bought an insane amount of inventory recently, and like sure, I could definitely put this on my credit card.
Another bullshit thing he's trying to say to me, trying to get out the situation of not paying, right? Oh, I bought a lot of inventory. Well, you could have just said that from the get-go, right? So let's see how I handled this and how I actually, removed myself from his problem of not having enough money because he bought too much inventory.
Then they don't want to, until I see that it works and it's brought me back some ROI.
Yeah, here's the thing. You mind if I give you like a quick suggestion on this real quick?
Sure.
Like at the end of the day, right, you just have to realize it's been 2 years since you've, just kind of like thought about like trying to optimize like these systems in place, right? Like you even told yourself to me like about like 15 minutes, like 20 minutes ago that you're looking to take action, right? That's the reason why we're on the call, right? So obviously our whole goal here is to help you delegate more of your time, increase your revenue, and actually make you see the ROIs, as fast as possible, right? So it's not really about the money. It's not like if it was about the money, then obviously I get on a call with every single person that has like a little bit of cash under the mattress, right? But that's not how it goes, right? Obviously the reason why I called you in the first place, which when we talked about 4 months ago, the reason why I reached out to you is because we knew that we could help you out, but obviously you just didn't know what to do, so that's why I gave you a call in the first place, right? So in terms of payment plans, I mean, whatever you need, we can pretty much make it work. We're pretty much feasible in terms of payment plans, but just let me know what exactly works best for you, and we can just pretty much get started right away.
For me, the biggest thing would be going in steps, right? So trust me, I understand that. Look, you're not in it to do it for free, right? You're in a business and it's not nonprofit. At the end of the day, you're on this call to make money. At the end of the day, your developers are there to make money, right? Whether that's you funneling it in for them or somebody else, everyone's here for a purpose, and that's to work, right? My biggest factor is I want to delegate enough money for you guys to get started. Obviously write up a contract that says, hey, this works. Of course I wouldn't mind paying you, but I want to see it work. Because what I have right now, it's free. I have a sales team, right? It's working. Sure, I'm getting comfortable, but at the end of the day, it's like, I have friends who also have businesses, and it's a matter of laziness of me just not reaching out to them and asking like, hey, how do you guys automate all your stuff? And I want to give you a chance. So, I understand that stuff like building a website, buying a domain, all that stuff costs money, right? You guys initially setting it up and you paying the developers, trying the ads costs money. I'm sure there's your chunk that you're making, right? Obviously on a commission. How much would I be able to, I guess you can say, fund you guys to get started and see how it works? Because I'll be honest, I'm not gonna pay $1,500 right off the rip, and then just have like a guarantee on a contract. Because at the end of the day, dude, I have a lawyer who drafted me a contract. I'm like, at the end of the day, even for my lighting company, like whenever they sign off on it, sure, there's a lifetime warranty, but in fine print, at the end of the day, there's still a fee that we have to come out and diagnose the system, which is covering kind of the rest of the back end. So it's like, I get it, you have a contract, and like I'm about to leave you, but it's more important for me to see results first. So what would be that number that we can start off on? That way I can see it implemented and it work, and we pay as we go, right? Because at the end of the day, it is also a capital issue. Like I said, I could put it on my credit card, but I'm not going to. I just bought so much inventory, kind of loaded up right now in those aspects. What would be that number?
Yeah, so that's a good thing. I appreciate you telling me all that. And here's the thing, right? I want to help you make a good decision and not force you to do anything on this call, right? So the main thing for me is I see the numbers. Like obviously, I want to help you get the ROI as fast as possible, right? Like that's what matters to me the most. So in terms of like investments, obviously it's gonna help you. It's gonna pay itself essentially. But obviously, I want to make sure that you see the ROI. So what we can do in terms of payment plans, instead of the $1,500, what we can get started off with is an either 2-month payment plan, so where it's $750 to get started, and then obviously next month, if you are seeing the results, then we can pay the $750 after. Or we can do a 3-month plan where it's $500. But obviously, I know like on the contract, like I mentioned, we can speed up the process for you to actually help you see results with like 20 to 30 days. So we can essentially just expedite that process. So you can start off with $750 with two payment plans, or we can obviously make an exception with $500 to pretty much get this up and running for you.
Okay. And you said how long would it take to kind of build everything out? Then here's the main thing. The automations you're talking about is great. I want to see the ads work first. That's kind of my biggest thing. So it's like if you can put everything else aside and just really start the ads in the first place. Obviously, I'm assuming that you need to have the systems in place to actually get the ads to run through the system, right? Because you need to somehow get the client onto your database, right? That's my biggest thing. I want to see the ads work. That's what I want. Like my primary thing is. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. So that's exactly what we're going to do in the first place, right? So what we're typically going to do with end here is we're going to get you on an onboarding call once we move forward. From there, we're just essentially going to implement everything. So you're going to
this is where I kind of transition into like getting him on an onboarding call now. So I didn't receive the payment yet, which we'll pretty much get to that in a second here. But I'm essentially setting him an expectation of like, okay, like this is what we're gonna do now, because now it seems like you're actually committed to us, right? So just kind of giving him that commitment level, that commitment statement.
You're just going to do like a full checklist again, get some data information so we can actually help you implement those systems. And from there as well, I'll just pretty much guide you through like step by step on how to set up your own Facebook ad as well as your own ad account. I'm sure you have your own ad account now, or do you need to create one yourself?
No, I need to create one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I'll help you pretty much sort through that all together. You can pretty much invite me as an editor, so I can pretty much edit the whole thing for you.
Okay.
But the only thing is, you'll just essentially have to pay for the advertising budget yourself. But everything else will pretty much, we have an in-house marketing team as well, so we'll do all the image ad creatives for you. We'll send you like a Google Drive if you have like any B-roll, like any videos or pictures that you want to send over.
Sure.
Google Drive and just have our editing team edit that for you. But yeah, if you want to start off on the marketing side first, we can. And then the automation typically takes like 7 to 8 days to fully implement. So once that's done, then like I said, automation is what's spelled out. It's pretty much there for you to keep. Marketing's obviously ongoing, so I'll pretty much help you throughout the marketing journey as well on top of that.
Yeah, that's also one of my concerns. Is like I don't like that there's a monthly retainer. That's the biggest thing. Because I don't see why I would need that in terms of like if everything's up and running, why would I ever need that again?
It's for us.
You see how it's like lots of questions he's asking, and I'm overcoming these objections, or not really objections, but just more questions. The only objection right now is just finance. But other than that, I mean, like I said,
then that's when you have to switch it. Okay, so that's for the monthly retainer.
he needed to ask all these questions when the presentation said questions, question mark. It
That's
makes
what
sense.
If you want to learn marketing yourself, I'm more than happy to teach you exactly how to set everything up, how to create like certain videos, how to create certain ad campaigns. That way, as you go on, you don't have to get out of the retainer anymore. That makes sense.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but you're not paying the monthly retainer right now. The only for us to get started, we can either set up for a 2 or 3 month payment plan. And then once that investment of that $1,500 is paid off, that's when like monthly retainer is just gonna pretty much be going forward from there.
And this is where you just stay quiet.
I mean, you've been thinking about this for 2 years, man. I mean,
No, trust me, I know. Trust me, it's been bugging me just as much as you've been bugging me. So,
I mean, we can get this started, right? I mean, it's your call. I would
it's just a
like,
matter of here's also the thing is like you said 8 days. That's quite a while. And the funny thing is I'm not going to be here in 8 days. I'm going to be in Cancun. So I don't know how you're going to reach out to me while I'm in Cancun because I'm going to have no service. Maybe I don't even know if my service provider allows me to call in foreign countries, but.
so we're gonna have our own separate personal communications app. So what I show you on like here right here. So let me show you my screen here again. So what I showed you right here, we're gonna have our own personal channel right here with like with our developers that you pretty much be talking with. So even if I can't reach out to you via phone call, you'll still be getting like messages from that specific channel. And if you have any questions regarding like the systems, if you need anything from our side or from like developers that you'll be working with, just feel free to contact them through that channel, and you'll be in contact with me directly as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have to call each other all the time.
Is there any way that you could lower that monthly retainer? That's my biggest thing. Is like
We can-
$200 is like I'm not gonna be calling you every single day to change my like ad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can. I can make an exception. I know I've made a lot of exceptions, but what I can do is instead of it being $199, I can put it as like $149, so it'll be $50 less on the contract.
Do you all do 99? I would say $100 flat. If you can do that, I'll go ahead and sign everything right now, and I'll do the $500 for 3 months. We can get started right now.
Okay, let me see.
If you're able to make that exception, I'll go ahead and while we're on this phone call, I can give you my card number and we can start.
Okay, then we can do the 99 monthly. So once the 1,500 is paid off, then it'll be like 99 monthly retainer after that.
Sure, let's do that.
Okay, cool. So that's just pretty much going to be the end. Client has closed. Some things I would want to obviously fix on my end, and then for you guys as well, just to give you some tips. If a client says, lower the price a little bit more and I'll get signed up right away. I was desperate, so obviously I did it. But if you really are confident in your offer, your services, you're not gonna be desperate and just go down, right? Just to make a quick low ticket offer buck. So just to give you guys an example, sorry if my camera died, but yeah, this is just gonna be essentially the end of the video. The rest of the video is just kind of like, onboarding him and just going through like the services and agreements, and then just kind of like showing him exactly what to do, for like steps 3, filling out a form when he books on and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, that's going to be the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Just comment it down below, and I'll do my best to always, answer those questions for you guys. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'll see you soon. Take care.